Good evening, Amherst County. My name is Rob Arnold, Superintendent of Schools, and today is April 3rd, 2020, and we are now 3 weeks into this school closure that has really changed the world for all of us. In schools specifically, we have been doing a lot of work to try to provide answers for our students and our families, and we have given you a lot of general information, a lot of details that are for all students. Today, we want to speak specifically to our students with disabilities and their families. We understand that there are specific questions and answers that need to be addressed, and so today I'm going to ask that the Director of Student Supports, Josh Neighbor, join me. As you can see behind me right here with our banner that people have gotten tired of seeing just my face in a white background. So we decided to spruce it up a little bit, so I hope you enjoy the background here. But so let's get started with Mr. Neighbors. Josh, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And so I'm going to ask a few questions of him that we've been getting from families about students with disabilities. So the first question is, what steps has Amherst County Public Schools already taken to support students with disabilities and their families during the closure already?
Sure. So certainly we understand that this is a unique and challenging time for all of our families and our students, but especially for our families of students with disabilities. So what we've asked all of our special education case managers to do is initiate contacts. Over the last couple of weeks, all of our case managers have been reaching out to the students on their caseload to make that initial contact, offer whatever support and guidance might be needed, and ultimately just be there for them, be that point of communication, and know that they're available to answer whatever questions they might have during this time. We've also been working very closely with all of our instructional staff to ensure that special education and considerations that come with that are part of the planning process. So looking at what we've done with those at-home learning opportunities, special education staff has been involved at every step in that process to ensure that we are trying to provide as accessible and equitable resources as we can to all of our students, regardless of what their needs might be. So really trying to set that foundation for this very unique time we find ourselves in.
Okay, good. So, and we have some specialized programs. So what's being done to support students in those programs?
Certainly. So thinking about our students with more intensive support needs that would typically be served in a separate program or a disability-specific program, we've worked with all of those teachers and case managers to also be developing at-home learning opportunities, but much more individualized for those students' needs. So as we've been rolling out pickup for all students, when those flash drives and Chromebooks and all that have gone out, we've also had packets for those students developed individually by their teachers to ensure that they're getting work that more closely resembles what they would have within the school environment and is meeting some of those unique needs that they have. We understand for those students that this closure can have even more significant of an impact, and we want to make sure we do what we can to provide some continuity for them with the specific skills that they're working on.
Okay. So how will the closure affect the annual IEP and eligibility meetings?
Right. So it's very important for our families to know that all timelines are still in effect. So thinking about our annual IEP reviews, we have dates with which we need to work with them to review those IEPs. All of those are still in effect. So case managers will be reaching out to families to discuss scheduling of those meetings. Obviously, with the circumstances we find ourselves in, those are going to be unique in regards to how we participate. Those are going to have to be by telephone or a virtual platform of some kind. We have some families that have already participated in those meetings, and so far it's gone very well. We're happy with how that's working for us and for our families at this point. But case managers will be reaching out specific to those annual IEP meetings.
So we can make the arrangements with all families regardless of what their their communication needs are.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't have to have internet access. We still have accessibility by phone, and we're working with each individual family to make sure we provide that as best we can.
Okay.
When it comes to eligibility meetings, all of those are being scheduled through our Student Services office here at the school board office. So staff from my office will be reaching out to schedule those individually with families as they have students that are still involved in that eligibility process. I do think it's important for families to know that obviously due to the closure, there is there's a significant amount of disruption in how much
Right.
we're able to do to collect information and conduct new assessments. Ultimately, we're going to be meeting on each individual student and considering all of the data that we have available as to whether or not we're going to be able to make a determination related to eligibility. What we're going to be working through on a case-by-case basis. If we have the information we need and we can reach a consensus as a team and make a decision, that's wonderful. If not, we certainly have that option to come back once we resume some of those normal operations and can collect the data we need to make those decisions.
Okay. How will special education or will special education case managers be available to help with these at-home learning opportunities?
Sure. So, like I said earlier, all case managers have been reaching out to students on their caseload already to initiate that contact. So, as you've communicated with your case manager or your student's case manager in the past, all those avenues are still available. We've also asked all special education case managers to establish what we're calling office hours, so set times of availability through the week, and they will be communicating that to all students on their caseload. So for families, you'll be receiving communications, exactly what days and times those office hours will be there, and all of those staff will be available either by phone or by virtual platform, or sometimes both, depending upon what individuals are able to access.
So we've asked that all teachers become available at the very latest starting April 17th when the next round of learning opportunities go out. Is that the same for the case managers as well?
Right. So because we know that this is impacting our students with disabilities in different ways, I've actually asked our case managers to initiate that next week. So
Okay.
families should be hearing from them by next week at the latest about what those office hours are going to be.
And if they're not being contacted, what should they be doing?
Yeah, so make sure, we know sometimes that things change. We change cell phone providers or home phone providers, things like that, to make sure the case managers have the most updated contact information for your family. Reach out to them, make sure they're aware of that. We want to make sure we're getting as many families involved as we can and to be that support for them.
So it would be safe to say if they're not contacted by the end of next week that they need to reach out either
Absolutely.
to their school or to their case manager, something like that.
Most definitely.
Okay. All right. Will additional at-home learning opportunities be provided to students with disabilities?
Absolutely. So there'll be a distribution for all students coming up here in the next few weeks. Those are those at-home learning opportunities that we're targeting some of those newer skills. We are actually doing additional at-home learning opportunities for our students with disabilities, trying to target activities that relate to those skill deficits identified in their IEP. So again, just like I was speaking about earlier with our students with intensive support needs, we want to try to provide some continuity of development of those identified skills. We can't replace everything that we would typically be doing, but we want to try to provide that support as we can as we're moving forward and provide some level of support related to those deficits that have been identified in their IEP.
Okay. So it's a lot of information. That's. Is there anything that parents should do if they have questions? Parents, students, if they have questions, who should they contact? What should they be doing?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, making that case manager their first line of contact as they have specific questions about the at-home learning opportunities. We know there's going to be questions about scheduling during this time and keeping students in routine. Our case managers are very happy to help with any of that. So that really should be that first line of communication for them. Beyond that, we here in the Student Services Office are more than happy to discuss any questions with anybody that may have them at this point, particularly if there are concerns about the eligibility process. We can be that first point of contact for families as is needed. Ultimately, just want to emphasize that we want to be here to help and support our families. We understand that there are a lot of challenges that come with this school closure. We just want to do what we can to help mitigate that as much as possible for our students with disabilities at this time.
So when I said at the opening that we've provided information for all students, and even with this, we're providing, this is general information for students with disabilities. But as with all of our students, there is going to be the moment where they have to have that individual consultation. And so I want parents to understand that that is what's being put in place, is for your individual student to work with their individual case manager to help work through the different details that they need working on.
That's right.
Yeah.
And allow us to be that support. We want to help. We want to try to alleviate whatever stress and concern we can. So as families have those questions or concerns about those at-home learning opportunities, or really about anything as it relates to this closure, we want to be there for them and be able to provide that help.
Is there anything that I might have missed in the questions that you wanted to speak to?
I think that's it for now. Again, we wanted to try to provide an overview of concerns that a lot of our families of students with disabilities might have. Again, just want to stress, if you have specific questions about your student or about a process that they're involved in, please don't hesitate to reach out to your student's case manager or to us here at the Student Services Office so we can help you navigate that.
Yeah, and so the questions that we got for this video came from either Facebook posts or calls to Mr. Neighbor's office. And so if you have questions and you can't get in contact with anybody, you can attach those to this video as well. And what we've been doing all along is compiling all of the questions that come to us in whatever form. And we've tried to either answer them on the spot or compile them and do a video like this to try to answer those questions. We do understand there's lots of uncertainty right now, but we're doing the very best we can to provide as much information as we can. Know that we want to support your student, we want to support their needs, and we believe we have a structure in place to do that. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, we will be back in a few days to provide more information as that information is made available to us. And I thank you for your patience. Once again, I thank you for all the support that you've given the schools, and everybody have a good night.